This is part 4 of a multi-part series on catching Lake Erie Smallmouth around islands. Today we'll be covering North Bass Island. On the previous videos, we covered Kelly's, South Bass, and Middle Bass. So make sure you check those out if those are areas you'll be fishing. But today we're going to focus on North Bass and the surrounding reefs around the island. So let's get started on the west side of North Bass Island. This reef over here on the west side is called West Reef. Pretty popular area for smallmouth and walleye fishing. First thing that I focus on West Reef is the individual humps that are present on the reef, and you can see them plain as day on this Navionics chart. I'm sure if you guys use other chips as well, they have those humps depicted. If they don't, take note of this video and you can probably see them on your graph and mark them if you don't have this exact chart. But on top of these humps in the spring months and through the spawn, like late June, can be pretty good. What I primarily do on these humps is drag tubes, and this is all the way through June. I'm fishing on these humps. You see these 4 primary humps right here, and there's also another one right at the edge of the reef here that can be really good too. But what I'm doing is I'm dragging tubes, 3/8 tube, whatever brand you throw. Anything Green Pumpkin works. If you're dragging tubes across here, you can either drift or cast. A lot of times I'll spot lock off the side of one of these humps, say on this side, and fan cast that hump. If I know there's fish on it, if I ran over it, seen them on the graph, or seen them on live scope. So the humps. Yeah, these 4 primary humps are the ones that I really hit. In the summertime, I'll kind of slide out to this 17-foot hump here, just because there's deep water close by. Those smallmouth in the summertime, they will come up shallow to feed, but then shoot off the edge of that reef to kind of chill out for a little bit, and then they'll come back on. That's not to say they can't bite when they're back out deep, but that's primarily after June. I'm fishing on that north side. Another little area is off the side of the very far west side of the reef. These contours tighten up quite a bit here. And it comes up to 18, 16 foot in places. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run up and down with my boat. If you guys can see my cursor, I'm going to run up and down with my boat. Try and mark fish. As soon as I start marking fish, I got to figure out what they are. So I start casting at them. If they're smallmouth, then you know what depth. Once you catch a smallmouth, you know what depth those fish are hanging at, and you can replicate it all the way around this reef. It's pretty cookie cutter all the way around. This whole area in between this red buoy, and that red buoy is pretty much in the same spot every year, give or take a few meters. But I'll run these contours. Once I figure out where those fish are hanging, I'll run these contours all the way around this reef. And you can pretty much replicate it all the way to this underwater hump here. But that's how I'm fishing West Reef. What else on this side? Manila Bay. Manila Bay. So in the springtime, if anyone or if you guys are up fishing this way in the springtime, this is a good place to sight fish if you're into that. You'll see the bass boats packed in here like sardines, one on each bed, basically throwing at the fish that are on beds here. And this water is pretty clear up this way. You can see once you start coming into this bay. Last time I was up there was a few years ago, but I remember coming in right around here and I could start seeing beds right about here. I could see straight to the bottom and see the boulders. And then once I worked my way up through here, it was just pretty much littered with smallmouth beds up through there. And there was, I don't know, 15 boats in there working them. So kind of left them alone, pulled out of there. Just kind of a cool sight to see if you want to go check it out. But that bay right there is a good spawning bay. Okay, now we'll move down to the south side. On the south side, this point below Manila Bay, in this area right here, if you can see my cursor, this area right here gets some good grass in it. And I've caught fish in here on top water first thing in the morning. If it's nice and calm, you can throw top water across there, throw a walking bait, pop-ar type lure, something like that. Or I'll sit out here in about 9 or 10 foot of water, and there's still grass out that way, and I'll throw a drop shot right in the middle of that grass. Now, I've not really caught anything huge in this area, but if you want to go have some fun with some top water and shallow water drop shotting, this would be the area to do it right here. Moving over, there's a real nice underwater point here. This is no secret. Don't be surprised if you pull up on there one June morning and there's a boat or a charter boat sitting on it. Everybody knows about it. For good reason. It holds fish. You can probably catch 1 or 2 fish on there every time you stop there, depending on the conditions. But June, July, this point will hold fish. Any earlier than that, and those fish will be up here on beds. Let's go across. One little note here, I have caught some largemouth around this marina right here. Nothing huge, but there's largemouth that hang around this marina. Moving over. So this southeast point on North Bass Island. What's this mark here? Somebody marked something. Inaccurate aerial photo. Huh. Okay. Anyway, this whole point around here will hold smallmouth at all times of the year. I've caught fish in the spring. I've caught fish May, June, late summer, and into the fall. Just depends on what depth they want to hold at. So in the earlier months, before the spawn, they're going to still be out deep. They'll be 14 to 16, 18 foot deep, sometimes deeper. But where these fish like to hang is right off the end of this point. I'm going to switch over to Google Maps so you can see it a little better. You can see it's real shallow. You can see the waves breaking on it. So on this point, where I put my boat is right here on the end of it. So if I switch back over to here, I'm way out here with my boat, and what I'm doing is I'm fan casting either a drop shot, tube, or even a crankbait I've thrown in that area and caught fish. But that's what I'm doing on that point. In the spring, I'm focusing on these contours that are out here off the point. Now in May, June, July, I'm throwing right up in these rocks. Now be careful, don't get your boat way up close to these things because they're right underneath the surface. But I set my boat right off the end of this thing, and I'm casting up into those rocks and pull some really nice fish off there between May and July. All right, let's move up. Haven't really spent any time straight on the east side here. I've seen guys fishing over here, so I'm sure there's fish over there. I just haven't spent any time. So if you're in the area, it might be worth a cast or two. On this northeast corner, this area right here, you can get there's some grass and some rocks in the area. I think there's some trees right off the end of this dock here, or this jetty. Let's check it out. Yeah. So, right up in this area, there's some grass up there, and the whole east side's got grass on it. But what's cool about this area is you can throw top water, just like on that south side. Those fish will get right up in those rocks in the mornings. If you get a real nice calm morning, you throw top water, um, a walking bait or pop R style bait, something like that, and you can have a really fun morning. Nothing huge, but you can catch a lot of fish doing that first thing in the morning. Now in the north side, I do not fish the north side until way after the spawn. I'm talking late July, August, into late summer, September, October. These fish will hang on these 20 to 25-foot contours on the north side here. And it's probably trying to stay cool. There's some nice current that rips around the top side of this island. So those fish are probably sitting in the current waiting to get a snack. But had some really good days of some fish around this area and right here. Drop shotting darters, 3-inch darters on an 1/8 ounce drop shot weight. Now in this area specifically, what I look for is, and I've got them marked on my graph, but there's big boulders in this area, and you can catch fish right off the side of these boulders. And what I do is once I find one of these big boulders, and big, I'm talking one that sticks up 3-4 feet on the bottom, I'm gonna run my boat around this entire boulder, basically picking off each side, seeing if there's a fish there. Obviously, if I see it on live scope, I'm going to stay longer. But if I'm running over a boulder and I'm just waypointing it, I'm getting right on top of that boulder, and I'm going to work right around it, and I'm going to cast 5 or 6 times before I leave that boulder. A lot of times those fish will be so tight against the bottom or the boulder that you'll never see them on your graph. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. And typically in this area, the reason I spend a lot of time on these boulders is typically it'll take a while for a big fish to bite. You get a bite right away, normally it's high 3s or under, something like that, just from my experience. Now those bigger fish, let that bait soak on the side of that boulder or on that feature, whatever you're trying to fish, or if you're actually seeing the fish on live scope, give that fish some time to bite. A lot of times they will commit. It might take you 5 or 10 minutes or 20 minutes, but they'll commit. I'm not doing that when I'm fun fishing, but in a tournament situation, yeah, you're going to sit there for 20 minutes and try to get that fish to bite. There was one other area. So here's a longer, now this is going back to West Reef, but there's a longer gradual underwater point here, and it's real elongated on the top of it. This point can be pretty good. May, June time frame, when those fish are going up and they're either coming or going from the bed. So and they'll come out here and hang on these contours and feed pretty heavy. And sometimes, yeah, there's bedfish up there, and sometimes you'll get into them. But what I'm focusing on those drop back fish, those fish that have already made it up or heading there. You're trying to catch them off guard, but this real gradual point here is the place to do that. Had some really good days in this area, May, June time frame. All right, let me see if there's any other areas that I missed on this place. I think that's it. All right, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. I think on the next one we'll move up into some of the Canadian islands here in case those are your areas that you fish. Try and give you some pointers on those islands. So, all right, thanks.